Welcome, magical souls, to the Spiritual Brujas podcast.
A sacred space where we dive deep into the mystical, the cosmic, and the enchanting realms of the spiritual world.
I am Gabriela Verduzco.
And I'm Corrine Piper.
And together we are your guides on this mystical journey, your fellow travelers in the world of magic.
Every episode will brew a potion of wisdom, blend in the secrets of the universe, and stir in our own life experiences.
Expect to uncover the power of astrology, decode the language of the stars, and embark on a quest for self-discovery.
We'll dive into topics like universal laws, limiting beliefs, self-love, human design, EFT tapping, and so much more.
But this podcast is not just about knowledge. It's about transformation.
It's about embracing your inner witch, enriching your spiritual journey, and igniting the magic within.
So grab your broomsticks, light your candles, and join us in our sacred circle as we explore the mystical tapestry of life.
Get ready to awaken your spirit, nourish your soul, and remember the enchantment that dwells within you.
Are you ready to embark on this magical adventure with us?
Then let's begin.
Welcome to the Spiritual Brujas. We hope everyone is doing well. I know it looks a bit dark in here. It's kind of overcast here and a bit of a rainy weather. I know Corinne's having rainy weather over there too.
Yes, definitely dark and dreary today, but it's nice because it's always sunshine over here. So it's a good change of pace.
Yeah. So we're so excited to be back. And here we are going to be talking about resilience today, and how it plays a role in all of our lives.
Yes, most definitely. How does it play a role in your life recently, as most recently?
I think it plays a role in so many parts of my life. For the most part, I think that it's really important for us to know, to be able to identify it, and also listen, right? Listen to it. Because if we're having resistance when it comes to something or someone or an event, it's our bodies, it's our nervous system, it's our body, it's our soul telling us that something isn't right, something is wrong, and it's a good idea to sit with it and reflect and try and figure out what is causing this resistance. Is it something that maybe we are internalizing? Is it something that is causing us, maybe an event that we're going to that is causing maybe some anxiety, some, triggers that are causing the resistance? It's just important to figure out what the root cause is of it, because it really is, for me, I feel like it's a signal from my body telling me, alert, something is wrong, it's not safe, going to this or being around somebody, that is going to either trigger me or make me kind of pull me down in a different frequency where I don't want to be, or I don't feel joy. So yeah, just I think identifying it and figuring out what is causing it is really important. What about you?
No, I agree. Anytime there's that internal kind of friction, our bodies know best, I feel. And whenever we have that internal kind of friction, you always have to really stop and think, like, what is the why is this occurring? What is this feeling I'm receiving? And what is it that I need to be more aware of, and what's going unnoticed or overlooked or, whatnot that I'm not seeing. And it's just really trying to figure out, why it's happening, and that's many forms of, like, it could happen when you're, procrastination. It could look like self-doubt,
Right.
even fear, it's any really interior, like internal, like barrier, right? That you're just feeling and you're not actually like understanding maybe the subtle force that's like not letting you do the intention that you're trying to do. But there's always some kind of reason and so much like of an underlying reason why you feel that resistance. So it's like you really want to be aware of that situation and learn, why you're feeling that way, or why you may not, feel that it's right for you to do stuff. And I know for me, all throughout my, my journey as far as in business, there's always been certain ways that I've received training and how to do things. And as a projector, specifically in human design, I'm not created and made the same as most different types. And for me, doing certain things that I've been taught throughout my career have always felt I've always felt that resistance in certain things. And learning more about me and my energy and everything else has then taught me and brought to light, it's not a reason, or there's a reason why the resistance has always been there for these things that I've been taught, in my past, because I know now, learning more about my human design and how, I'm supposed to be in alignment with my energy, that's just not designed for how I'm supposed to be operating in business, right?
Yeah.
So now that I know that, and I know I'm supposed to, be sharing my gifts in another way, it makes more sense. And then it just feels more in alignment and there's no more resistance, and I just feel like I can, share my gifts and do what I need to do more in alignment with how I'm supposed to be, rather than feeling that resistance all the time and not feeling like it feels good and it's not joyful, and it's just not a good feeling. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely important to lean on that when you do feel it, and identify, the areas
Identify it.
where, you can grow, you can evolve, and you can just, get through that resistance and really just navigate through it.
Yeah. And I think that there's times when resistance, um, there's going to be time when you have resistance and you need to fight against the resistance and do it anyways. And then there's times when, there's that resistance that's kind of trying to keep you safe,
Sure.
and help you not, put yourself in a sticky situation, or be around people who might trigger you, or a place where that might trigger you, an environment that might trigger you. So learning to, like you said, identify, you know, um, the resistance and know where it stems from, to then be able to either push through or be like, oh, I shouldn't do this because the resistance in my body is letting me know that this is not safe. The energy in my body is letting me know this is not a place where I need to be, so I will need to remove myself. But there's just so many different times. And you're right. I think resistance oftentimes manifests itself in different forms. Like you said, procrastination is a big one, right?
Yeah.
Also disassociation, you
Yeah.
disassociate yourself from things. That is resistance, my friends. Disassociating yourself from an event or a place or a moment, there's resistance there. The resistance is causing you to, disassociate yourself, so then you do not have to deal with whatever is being put in front of you. But also you can compartmentalize things, that's also resistance. There's so many different forms of that the resistance can manifest, so learning to really see things for what they are, rather than you thinking that, oh, it's just, you know I'm just being lazy and I'm procrastinating, or I'm just tired and that's why I'm disassociating yourself. No, there's a reason for it. And it's good for us to be able to identify and reflect on it so that we can get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really like the mirror reflecting back to those
Right.
aspects of ourselves that we're, ready to break through or transform, or, it's just really learning from those challenges that, we go through. And they seeing that there's always going to be some kind of valuable lesson behind it, right? Or some kind of insight that we're going to gain. And it's just really just learning how to, be aware of those instances and know that there's more of a deeper root behind it, and then just getting the courage and the strength to power through whatever that may be.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember, friends, like, the things that break you are often the same things that are going to build you up,
Mhm.
so getting comfortable and allowing yourself to sit with the emotions that are coming up is going to be key for you to propel yourself further, you know
Mhm.
um and leaning into that resistance, leaning it, surrendering, if you will, just allowing it to manifest in whatever form it has to manifest, and allowing yourself to feel all the emotions that come with it is what's going to get you through those tough places in your life. Like you said, oftentimes viewing things as lessons rather than viewing them as like, gosh, this really sucks. Poor me. Why do I have to be stuck here? It's like, okay, what am I going to learn from this? What is the universe trying to teach me right now? What is the lesson in all of this? And if you just sit with it for long enough and you allow yourself to sit every single emotion that comes through, you will learn to alchemize it. You will learn to be able to get through it and then be able to do it further on. At least for me, I've gotten to a place where anytime something bad happens or there's something, an event that's happening that I'm like, oh, I really, this really, I'll say, this really sucks, but I'm going to get through this and I'm just going to allow myself to feel whatever, whether if it's a day that I just feel like shit, like crap, and I'm just like need to be in bed all day and cry or whatever, I'll give myself that one day, and then the
Yeah.
next morning I will wake up and be like, okay, so what can I do? I don't have to be that person that I am the very next day, but what can I do today to feel a little bit better than I did yesterday? And as long as we continue to just put one foot in front of another every single day, regardless of how little it is, that is what is going to get us through and that resistance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And really just it comes down to being mindful of everything, right?
Right.
And then just
Yeah.
having that like non-judgmental awareness about yourself, and having compassion, right? Because it's you really, I mean, for me at least, it took me a long time to realize like why am I not being successful in this line of work? Because I thought it was right for me at the moment. And then it was like really frustrating. And then I was getting, bitter and everything. And I'm like, I don't understand why this is not working for me. So it's like you really have to have that self-compassion and, just that curiosity to dig deeper, with whatever it is that you're not trying, or you're, those patterns and thoughts that are reoccurring when you're having these resistance come up, right?
Yeah.
So
And just a big reminder for me lately has been that when I was journaling was just that everything is temporary, you know? The feelings that you're feeling in the moment where you're having the resistance or where you're going through something tough, that is temporary. And just reminding yourself of that, that is a temporary feeling, that you are not going to feel like that forever. And maybe we can say a mantra. I am safe,
right.
I'm not going to die. I am safe, I'm going to be okay. That will help really regulate your nervous system in the moment to
And
help.
even integrating breath work in the moment.
Yeah, or EFT, right? I mean,
Mhm.
EFT doesn't take long. These are things that can be done in 5 minutes. You go to the bathroom, you do a little bit of EFT, these are things that can help you get
Right.
out of that like freeze moment, right? Or flight, moment.
Yeah.
And just realizing that do not act as if your temporary situation is your permanent life, because oftentimes when we get into those patterns or we get stuck in that resistance, we're like, we feel like the world is ending, right? Like this is, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the end of me, just
Yeah.
reminding ourselves, and like you said, having compassion for ourselves, giving ourselves grace and love, in the moment, and just telling ourselves like, yes, I feel sad and I'm allowed to feel sad right now. I'm allowed to feel
Yeah.
this resistance, but this is temporary. This is
Right.
not going to be forever. This is just a temporary feeling. So I'm going to allow myself to sit with it and feel it and go through the process and be able you know, to process it,
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Well, and as far as like even the time, I mean, sometimes I could do a breath work session and it could go away in a half an hour.
Yeah,
Sometimes, like you said, you want to be in bed crying all day. I mean, it's just, you have to go with your emotion, but it's definitely temporary and it's not going to be a long thing as long as you have the right steps to take or the right tools to use, and that's why being mindful and having mindful practices and techniques,
I
breathing and meditation, and even like I love doing the body scan exercises, doing that kind of stuff. It's just all about, enhancing your self-awareness and helping you recognize the resistance at it as it arises, right? And you mentioned like the triggers too. So just reflecting on those situations that those triggers are commonly triggered and figuring out, why those triggers are, being triggered, and being proactive about your awareness, and really just trying to address the resistance at its roots, and it's so important to do that. And you can do these things by, journaling. That's something you mentioned. I know I
I
love
think
journaling.
purging, yeah,
Yeah.
purging when
Yeah.
you're having like negative, emotions or feelings, purging is really good to
Mhm.
releasing everything, and then journaling, yeah, like positive
Yeah,
stuff,
just writing down all your thoughts and emotions,
and
and
gratitude, right?
yeah, yeah.
Doing
Oh,
a
gratitude,
gratitude
absolutely.
journal, after that, just to remind yourself of all the things that you do have and being grateful for the things that you do have. And they can be as little as like this warm cup of tea, or as big as like, thank you for my family and thank you for allowing me to live another day. It doesn't really matter. Just like Corinne says, having these practices in place and doing them on a consistent basis is really what is going to get you through those tough moments,
Mhm.
because they become second nature to you. They become something that you do on a regular basis, kind of like when you're crying. You have to go get tissue, right?
Mhm.
You have to clean your face. You have to do these things. That's what these practices are, very, very similar in that way, where they become like, you just know that's what you have to do. You don't even have to think about it. It's just there. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of this. I'm going to do a little bit of that. And like you said, it might not go away within the first few minutes, but in a later time, maybe 30 minutes, an hour, you will start to feel better, and just doing them as many times as you need to do them, is what is going to help you, and sometimes it might take a day, sometimes it might take 2 days. Giving yourself the time that your body is telling you. If we just listen to our body, it will let us know how much time we need, to get through it.
Yeah. Well, and just creating that, that positive environment for yourself, and having those practices, as well. And even like visualizing yourself actually like navigating through the resistance and creating that mental image, of overcoming whatever that challenge may be. And it's like that helps you move through it too, so there's just so many small wins that you can do with these little practices that can help you,
Yeah.
break through it and help you recognize, you know, that
I
that
think
there.
that's a good one. Visualizing is a really good one, or even setting anchors, either with like a touching a point in your, like, for what we've learned is to use our knuckles. And yes, apply, that's what we were taught, to use our knuckles. And when we tap that knuckle, we've anchored in a memory when we were happy, when we were feeling joy, when we were feeling gratitude, all of these things, or even a smell. I really
Yeah,
like the smell. The smell works better than the knuckles.
yeah.
Like I have a roller oil, and every time I'm in a happy place or I'm feeling happy, I smell it. And anytime I'm feeling down or something, I'll grab that roller. And that really helps me, like you say, visualize the moment when I was feeling happy. And I really get to the point where I start to embody those emotions, because I've used it every single time I've been in a happy place to do it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
visualization is really, really good. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and like you said, even having like a mantra, or, incorporating affirmations, it's the same thing. It's just, having that positive self-talk and getting rid of that, negative self-talk. It's really what is associated with the resistance is that negative self-talk. So repeating, certain affirmations and trying to rewire, our thought patterns and promote more of a, a mindfulness mindset around what we're actually thinking about, So it's, yeah, definitely just taking those inspired action steps to be more aware of what you're experiencing at a time.
Yeah, just replacing all the negative behaviors or negative talk, like you said, with positive ones is going to be a huge shift in your life, just reaching for something that's more positive rather than reaching for something that's negative, and victimizing ourselves, is
Right.
really going to help give us that shift that we need to be able to deal with resistance, and to be able to be able to deal with it time and time again, right? Because this is something that's going to keep coming up. This is not something that's going to go away. You know, as we continue to grow and evolve, we are going to have more circumstances where we're put in an uncomfortable situation. And anytime you're put in an uncomfortable situation, there's going to be resistance. There's going to be some sense of resistance there. And we need to learn to use these coping skills to help get us to the next level.
Yeah, yeah. And really, you know, you just have to make sure that you remember also, like, you know, now that you bring awareness to the resistance, you can probably reflect on things and see where you've actually overcome resistance in your past. And just like, you know, give yourself that credit, because it's difficult sometimes to get through that. And so just remember to reflect on those previous successes where you've been able to navigate through the resistance, and, you know, just your past achievements, because it's just, you know, evidence that you're able to overcome these challenges. And it's just something that you're like, okay, I've been able to fight through this before and get through it. Now I can, you know, this is something different, but I know I can get through this too, you know. And just
most
really,
definitely. I
and
think
just embrace the uncertainty as you grow, you know. And it's just surrendering and embracing the unknown so you can transform into, you know, how you're supposed to be, and really embrace that personal development, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that that's really good advice, you know, just really being able to go back and reflect on different times. That's actually really helped me, you know, get through moments of difficulty currently, you know, is just being able to be like, hey, you went through this, you went through that. Like I went through some really tough times, guys, you know, and I was able to get through that. So what is stopping me from getting through this next step? You know, like really, this should be the easy part, right? Because if I was able to get through those difficult times where I was incarcerated and I was away from my family and I was around horrible people in there, you know, I can get through this. I can get through, you know, having a tough day. That should be easy. I know in the moment it feels really hard, and we need to figure out if we either want to be comfortable or we want to be happy, right? Because you can be comfortable and be miserable, right? But you're never going to be happy in that comfort, right? In order to be happy, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to go through these challenges. You have to go through these obstacles in order to be happy. So really, it starts with asking yourself that question. Do I want to be comfortable or do I want to be happy? You know, because you cannot be both, you know, you cannot be both. And in order to be happy, you're going to constantly have to be challenging yourself to, you know, evolve, to continue to die, continue to rise. You know, the rise happens through the ashes, like the phoenix, right? The phoenix rises from the ashes. So in order to keep being happy, you're going to have to keep going through that. That is a never ending thing. You know, I used to think like, oh, when I'm healed, I'm going to be so happy. Well, guess what? You never stop healing. That is like an ongoing journey. You keep growing, you keep healing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely ongoing, and it's just more of that awareness that you have around those different things to, you know, have your personal growth journey. And, you know, it's you're always going to get better, and you're always going to elevate to your next level, you know. It's like the transformation of the butterfly, you know. You're going to constantly transform and have different versions of you throughout your journey, right? And it's just embracing that, and knowing that, you know, when something does come up, you just have the awareness around it and being able to release it with yourself and figuring out from there. Because that's really where the magic happens. Is a lot of us don't know how to sit with ourselves and reflect, and, you know, even do that on our journey. So being able to, you know, reflect and gather our thoughts, and then set those intentions and actions to actually get through that, you know, then it's definitely something.
And that takes courage, right? It takes courage to be able, you know, I was just able to tell myself that the other day. I was just able to tell myself that it has taken a lot of courage to face my fears. It has taken a lot of courage to do everything I've done, you know, to be able to go on this journey, on this relationship journey with myself, you know, and get to really know myself, because you discover stuff about yourself that you don't really like, you know, that are not really very graceful. you know? So you have to really sit with yourself and be like, why do I have these behaviors? Why does this bother me? You know, I noticed that just the other day, one of my family members was like posting and posting and posting, and I'm like, oh, she's so annoying. Why does she keep posting videos of herself? And then I caught myself. I was like, why does that bother you?
Right.
Why is that affecting you? Is it because maybe she's taking up space that you wish you had the courage to take up? You
Right.
know? So and I realized that, and it was a really big aha moment for that. But then I also realized, like, that took fucking courage for me to go sit back and like be honest with myself, you know, and like sit with myself and be like,
Yeah,
why is
because
that
you're
bothering
calling
you?
yourself out, right?
Yeah,
You're
you
like,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
calling myself out, like, why is this bothering me? You know, is it because of this? Is it because of that? And now I've been able to recognize those things, right? Recognize, and I'm in a place right now where I'm analyzing everything about myself, you know, like, why is that? Why does that bother me? Or why, you know, and it's kind of really cool. It's kind of annoying too, because I'm starting to realize that there's just so much work that I still have to do on myself. Me
Mhm.
thinking that I've already done all this work and that I'm already in a place where, you know, again, we fool ourselves thinking like, oh, we're healed, you know? And let me tell you guys, just when you think you're healed, some
Right.
stuff comes up and
Mhm.
you're like, oh shit, here we go, working on peeling back these layers, right?
Mhm.
So it takes courage. It really does. And we need to give ourselves credit for that, for taking that action and being able to identify our resistance and where the resistance is and getting to the root of the resistance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because once we face the resistance, that's where really the magic, starts to happen, and then it's just setting those intentions and taking those actions towards, your desired reality, which is great. So it's just being aware, is really what it is, and just embracing every moment, and being okay with how the outcome, is going to be too, and not putting any expectations or anything on it.
For sure, for sure. So I'm really glad we chatted about this. I think this is something that every human being deals with, you know, whether they want to identify it or deal with it or not, you know. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be scared of your own resistance, you know. It's there for a reason. Listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, you know,
Mhm.
to what your body's trying to tell you, because oftentimes the magic is in the in-betweens. The magic is like when you are in a really dark place, that's where the magic lies, you know? That's where you realize shit. That's where you learn, you know? And sometimes we just forget that. We just forget and we don't want to deal. We have the resistance, so we don't want to deal with it. So we end up, like you said, doing other things like procrastinating, disassociating. But remember, if you do those things, you're not going to learn. You're not going to grow, you
Right,
know? So
right.
lean into the resistance.
Yeah, no, each challenge is an opportunity to really elevate yourself and move closer to, your true potential. I mean, that's really what it's about, and you have to see these challenges as gateways versus like obstacles, right? And I think that's really important too, is to just see this as a positive thing rather than the negative thing, because a lot of people do just sweep it under the rug and don't dig in deep, and it's like you're not going to get past the resistance if you don't deal with the root. It's always going to be there. So it's important to pause and reflect and learn from these things when they do get brought up, because it's trying to teach you something, and it's just an opportunity of self-discovery and learning. And that's what it really is, coming down to. So
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's another opportunity to learn more about yourself, because we are such intricate, like complicated, you know, there's just we can spend our whole lifetime learning about ourselves, you
oh,
know?
absolutely. Yeah.
So,
And that's a beautiful thing about this human experience, is it's ours to learn and to create, and it's our own destiny, as each are, we each have our own destiny to work towards, and so it's beautiful to see that and to see what we can each create on this earth, separate and together, right?
and I
So
know sometimes it's hard for us to be able to see that, you know, but it's important for us to be able to communicate that to each other. You know, like I have to you, I'm constantly telling you, like, oh my gosh, you've just evolved so much and expanded so much. But it's because you've done the work. You've really just done the work and gone inwards and just really focused on that, you know, making that a priority on a daily basis. And that's what the work is, you know, that's what it's about.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always going to be an ongoing journey, and which is beautiful, you know, and it's just really having the right lens to look at that perspective about yourself in a
Yeah.
compassionate state, you know, and just be able to move through it and not you know, not let it really get to you, and just use your tools. There's so many amazing tools out there to use, you know, as we've
There
mentioned.
really is. There's more than I even knew there was. I'm
Yeah,
still learning, you know, there's just so much, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
okay, well, thank you so much for listening to us and being here with us. We're excited to keep going, and you know, I know that next week is Thanksgiving actually. So I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. You know,
Yeah,
hope you guys have a wonderful time with your families and really take a moment to be grateful, you know,
be deepened.
and be present. Yes, be present with your family. Try not to get annoyed with them.
Right. And take
Uh,
time to protect your energy too, because that's
yeah.
really important.
Take time to ground yourself afterwards, to be able to go inwards and connect back with yourself.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you guys again, you know,
Yeah.
after the break.
Yes. And if you guys have any topics that you want us to discuss as well, definitely let
Oh,
us know.
yeah, that would be awesome. We are so open to that. We would love
We're
to,
definitely open to the feedback, what you
yeah,
guys hear from us, because we
yes.
have tons to talk about, but we want to talk about what you would like to hear about as well.
Right. What interests you and what you guys would like to hear. So for sure, that would be awesome.
All right.
Great. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thanks,
much.
guys. Yeah. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.